What's going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to the channel. Most people think that shooting editorials happens after you press the shutter button, but actually there's so much more that goes into shooting editorials before we even get to the shoot itself. And that's what I'm going to be covering here in today's video. I actually got to plan this shoot out during my lunch break and actually had to get the shoot idea together, book the model, and then go through with actually completing the shoot. So I'm going to take you guys through that here in this video. What's going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to the channel. Most people think that shooting editorials happens as you're pressing the shutter in the studio, but actually there's so much more planning that happens before that we have to do in order to make an editorial go the way that we want it to. And this editorial I ended up planning on my lunch break, and I had to get the idea together, find a model to shoot the idea, and actually bring it to completion. So I'm gonna take you all through that process here in this video and show you how I did it. Let's get to it. I've been doing editorial photography for about 3 years now, and I gotta be honest with you, any of the shoots that I winged it on, where I went out, I just kind of said we'll get what we get if we can get it, and then I came back home, I realized I didn't have enough usable photos for what I wanted to put out. And that right there is a problem. I didn't have a pre-production process in place, and I found out that when I finally got a process down for how I planned out my shoots, my pre-production process, I came back home with a lot of photos that I did want to use and I was very proud of. As you guys know, I work a full-time job, and so I don't have time to go back and do reshoots. I don't have time to say, oh, well, I'll fix it in post. A lot of what I want to get right, I want to get right in camera and in the pre-production process so that I don't have to spend long times regretting the images that I got or spending a lot of time editing when I just want to have a quicker turnaround. And here's the thing, none of it really requires expensive software or gear. I usually just use my phone or computer to be able to plan out my shoots, connect with the model to let the model know the idea that I have for the shoot, and then start the production process. Step one, and this is the one that everybody skips, is concept. Before you book a model, before you scout a location, before any of that, you need to answer one question. What's the story? Editorial photography isn't just about a pretty picture, right? It's about telling a story or trying to convey a sense of mood. So today I wanted to show the frailty and beauty in a men's avant-garde type of shoot. And so I had to find, first off, what kind of constitutes avant-garde and how would I convey that? And so a lot of the images that you all saw earlier are images where the model's not looking directly at the camera, they're shying away from it. We're showing them kind of sinking into themselves. And that's really what I was pushing for with this shoot. And I had to convey that to the model during the session and before so that they have an understanding of the type of emotion that they should bring to the shoot. Now here's where it gets real. You can have the best concept in the world, but if you show up to a location and you don't know how to move about or how to stage the location, your idea is going to fall flat on its face. Now let me show you how I get into scout. Now here's where it gets real. You can have the best concept in the world, but if you show up to a location and then the shoot falls flat on the face, have you done what you're supposed to do? No, not really. So I'm going to show you all how I go about scouting locations for a shoot. Now, of course, I've only been in Houston for about 2 years now, and this session was actually done in studio. But if I'm going to shoot on location, a lot of times there are locations that I have been to or that I've driven past on a daily basis that I can commit to memory and therefore mark either in my Google Maps or find a location based off of, local references in order to scout my locations. I do this in gaps in my day. So, my lunch, before work, after work, I try to find locations that I want to use for future sessions. That way I have a lot of locations on hand and you look more credible as a photographer when you have these locations on hand. The best thing about scouting is that you have to be able to know how you would move about the space, and knowing how to move about the space, you can help convey that to the talent as well. And so, like I said, using Google Maps, using local references, you can look up things on Google like local photography areas or most photographic areas in my city. You can look up those to kind of give you a start basis and then work back from there. Also, you want to think outside the box. So yes, you may go to a local shopping center a lot and you may say, wow, this is, pretty picturesque place. Well, then you find a section in the shopping center where you can then transform that into a studio or location to be able to get the looks that you're looking for. So you want to spend real time when it comes to scouting because, again, this is going to help convey the overall mood if you're shooting on location. Of course, if you're shooting a studio, this doesn't matter as much, but you want to make sure that you know exactly how to move around the space, where the space is, how people access it, and all those things before your shoot day. Lighting plans. So in lighting, is very important. You want to know how you're going to utilize your lights, how many lights you're going to use. Now again, on location, I will use my off-camera flash with my dome. That way I can have a studio light and have a controllable light source on hand. Because we shot this in studio, I had a 3-light setup, had a hair light, main light, and then I had a strobe on the backdrop. And so, those were the setups I went for. But I also did 2 lights and I also did a 1-light setup throughout the shoot as well because I wanted more dramatic photos, right? So you have to understand what your lighting setup is going to be. Some people are really great at drawing out lighting diagrams to understand where they want to place the light. There are apps that can also help you know where to place your lights at in order to get a certain lighting concept. I like to look at references. So there are a couple of fashion photographers that I looked at their videos on YouTube. I looked at a couple light diagrams for the type of shoot and look I wanted to get. That way I have those in mind. So again, you want to know where you're going to set your lights up at, how you're going to do that. And again, this just comes from research in your pre-production phase so that when you get to the studio or you get on location, you understand where you're going to set your lights at to go ahead and get your look, which makes you more efficient. Also, too, you want to make sure you have a shot list. Now, again, I use shot lists more for videos like me doing this YouTube video, but you want to also have a shot list for photography. That way, if you have maybe 2 different looks that you're going for, 2 varying types of lighting setups, then you want to understand what type of shots you're looking to capture so that you can, again, one, become more efficient and you don't feel like you missed something when you get to the editing part of the process, right? And post-production, you want to make sure that you got all your shots covered, all your bases covered, and that you can hit the note for what you're trying to convey to the potential audience. And I'm gonna be honest, when I first started doing editorial work or what I thought was editorial work, I didn't care much about pre-production. I was used to street photography where I would just go out, shoot the images, react to what was given to me to be able to create beautiful images, right? But I realized as I was doing this that I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. And when I started to do more pre-production, I started to come up with images that I really liked, that really spoke to me and were a byproduct and result of me doing the pre-production process. Pre-production wasn't holding me back. It was giving me the lane I needed in order to stay focused, stay on task, and being able to get the images that ultimately are going to speak to me and hopefully speak to the viewers. And so hopefully as you guys see the images again, that you find out that, hey, I hit the mark on the head as far as what I was trying to go for with this session. If you're a photographer who's been sleeping on pre-production, I promise you the difference is night and day. On your next shoot, I want you to go through the pre-production process, plan out your mood board, plan out your scout your location, plan your lighting setup out, and then get your results. Again, I would love to see them Make sure to tag me at Mike, MikeOnipatton on Instagram. I would love to see your work and see what you guys come up with. Make sure you're doing all the things that matter. Hit that subscribe button, like button, so that we can continue to bring you all great videos. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers here. As I always say, photographers helping photographers grow. Iron sharpens iron, and like always, baby, I'm gonna see y'all on the next one.